This is the Bible of the electrogenic cell. It's not just the best book ever written on the subject, it's the only book ever written on this subject. Brought to you by supporters of Christ. All right, shout out to everybody that made it through. Shout out to everybody that made it through Halloween alive with fresh air and clean water. I almost ain't make it. I almost ain't make it. Let me tell you. It was a rough one.
The problem with Boosie.
Boosie?
Yeah, Boosie.
This man got a cancer, but he frying pancakes in olive oil.
Okay.
You tell me something ain't wrong with that, brother. You tell me something ain't wrong with that. When Boosie at home, laying comfortably, making bologna sandwiches for his 20 kids. This man got diabetes, homie.
Okay.
But he frying funnel cakes.
Funnel cake. You know, you maybe get some avocado oil. That's a little bit more healthy for you.
Come on, homie. He the one with the diabetes. Come on, he.
Yeah, you gotta shoot up all the time.
All right, we're gonna see how the YouTube gods do us today. Right, we are in Melanin is Anabolic. The Big Fat Burning Lie, week 11, day 2. I'm working through some type of runny nose, so y'all gotta bear with me. It was 100 degrees below zero last night, and we absolutely had to trick or treat and watch Freddy Krueger. All right. So I'm going to give y'all a chance to get y'all books together. Okay, if y'all hear that sound in the background, that's a future doctor making a lot of noise, trying to get me. He working that blender, trying to get me together. I got young future Dr. Chase on the blender. If Halloween don't kill me, the noise from the blender will. All right. Let me see what we need to do here. Let me see what we need to actually do here. Give me a second.
Okay, that wasn't enough time out for me. That wasn't enough time out for me. I know y'all like, hold up, why you put the old school back on? We should have put something on. All right. I got what I'm looking for. All right, so exercise and the iron circuits. Exercise and the iron circuits. Iron is not passive. It is a working metal inside a biological current system. Its electrogenic power depends entirely on flow, motion, and breath. Oh, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Let me get that right on up out your hands, dear sir. We will absolutely interrupt the program. Oh, my God. And to think, there was a time when I thought the same way some of y'all thinking, like, man, this sea moss tastes strong. I'd be like, almost dead without it. Like, man, like Popeye with the spinach. Like, I be needing that to get back to the, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. My man, Peyton. Peyton, you have no idea. Peyton, you have no idea what the Beatles was doing in the studio. Peyton. The Beatles was in the studio. Oh my God. The Beatles was in the studio losing their minds. That's all I can say, brother. We get through this work. We'll get to some Beatles. I know it's a lot of content lately, though. I know we did. We had a class yesterday, and then we had. I haven't even figured out how to even quantify. I haven't even figured out how to quantify Mr. Lungs and Dr. Kepper yet. That's like a whole, that's crazy, right? So that's not even like a class. That's like a special edition. I don't even know what to call that. That's something crazy. So I know we had class yesterday. We had I can't say a 5-hour class before that, but it was like an hour or so was just music. Right, but maybe 3 hours. Then yesterday, then our respiratory cardio class. Right, that's the makeshift. I mean, that's what it is, right? Respiratory cardio, and then we right back. So I know it's a lot. Hold on one second, family. So try to get through this as fast as possible. Right? We'll try to get through today's class as fast as possible. Get a little bit of Beatles in. Right? Get a little bit of Beatles in just because it's some new craziness. Right? And if we don't do it for nobody else, we got to do it for Peyton. I just threw Peyton out there. Really, it's just for me. Right? So, iron, a bioelectric conductor. Let's get to iron. Right? And let's just get to the business, right? So we get to iron, we're talking about cytochromes. What else we talking about? Myoglobin, myo and hemoglobin. Right? Myo and hemoglobin. And then we're talking about, this is a very important catalase and peroxidase. Right? These are very important characters to bring into our redox story, our electrical, our whole electronic body, redox, all of that. Very important characters, as well as a part of the melanin story or the melanocyte story. Not as much a part of the melanin story as a part of the melanocyte story. Melanocytes produce a high volume of catalase. Catalase is one of their nuclear warheads. So when melanocytes are in their immune function, one of their immune roles is to produce high amounts of catalase. Catalase converts H2O2 into H2O and oxygen, right? Which is very important. There we go. Which is very important because, as you know, H2O2 is peroxide, right? So we have H2O, right? 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen. That's a water molecule. If you add another oxygen, that water molecule becomes incredibly dangerous because now you have H2O2 and it's peroxide, right? And then you add another hydrogen and you get H3O2, which is a part of the structure of your cytoplasm. So right in between water that we drink and water that composes our cells is peroxide. And peroxide is very nasty. Peroxide tears up everything. So just think of peroxide as set or apophis or just pure destruction and chaos, right? Pure destruction and chaos. So that is one of the main jobs that melanin does. I know that looks crazy. I know that looks a little crazy. I know that looks a little crazy, but work with it. Work with that. Iron behaves like copper, right? In essence, the two function together. So you have a wide variety of copper in the blood, in the muscles, just wherever iron is, period. Just simplify it, right? Wherever iron is, you have copper there, right? But the concept is that in electronics, copper carries current. Copper carries current, right? The thing with iron has the ability to generate a current, right? Now this is in our world, right? Not necessarily in the super molecular small world, but in our world, right? Because we can create a current with a magnetic field, right? So the same way a moving electric field creates a magnetic field, a moving magnetic field around conductive material can generate a current, right? But the whole idea for your body is the current, right? Too long have we gotten lost in the aminos, the minerals, the proteins, the this and the that, and ignore or forget the purpose, right? So we're going to try, especially now that we have our other class, right? Black's Anatomy, highlighting the other aspects. We're just going to try to make sure that we point that out every time we come to, right? So when we're talking about iron, when we're talking about copper, we want to reprioritize. We want to make sure that we get it. We get the importance of actually having the raw material, but we can't forget the raw material's job is to facilitate, right? And so moving oxygen moves the redox needle. Moving the redox needle moves electricity, right? Moves electrons, moves protons. All right, so real quick, let's go over. Let's get the Google demons involved. Oh, we already got some music links up. Interesting. Why don't the Google demons jump on this? Interesting. I would have thought the Google demons, the enzyme that catalyzes the reduction of hydrogen peroxide. Okay, so we are reduced. Let me see. All right, so we are reduced to wiki. Actually, hold on. Let me see if I ask a question. Maybe that'll do. What is catalase? Here we go. AI is nosy. All we had to do was ask a question. AI get nosy, right? These different AI programs have personalities, you know. So catalase is a common enzyme found in almost all living organisms exposed to oxygen that protects cells by breaking down harmful hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen. It is a very important antioxidant enzyme that prevents cell damage from reactive oxygen species and has one of the highest turnover numbers of all enzymes, allowing a single molecule to convert millions of hydrogen peroxide molecules per second. Here's that per second stuff again. It is crazy what goes on inside your cells. What catalase does: breaks down hydrogen peroxide, reaction mechanism, blah, blah, blah. In mammals, catalase is found predominantly in the liver. It is present in other cellular components. That is interesting. That is interesting. That's what I was going to see. Was they going to violate melanin? Let me see. What cells create catalase? Okay. All of the cells. Interesting. In some cases, like red blood cells, it can also be found in the cytosol or the mitochondria. Prokaryotes, single cell organisms without a nucleus, produce catalase in their cytosol as they lack organelles. Catalase is mainly found in the peroxisome. All right. Exactly how many peroxide molecules a single molecule of catalase can break down 4 millions of blah, 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 with rates as high as 40 million molecules per second. 40 million. Man, that is crazy. Catalase has one of the highest turnover numbers of any enzyme, any known enzyme, with some sources citing rates between 16 and 44 molecules per second. Function: it catalyzes the decomposition of hydrogen peroxide. Okay, we got that. As a biological catalyst, catalase lowers the activation energy, making it proceed. All right, it is found in the peroxisomes within cells where it performs its vital protective function. So peroxisomes break down fat and produce cholesterol and phospholipids. They also play a critical role in managing reactive oxygen species by producing and then breaking down peroxide. They also play a critical role in managing reactive oxygen species by producing and then breaking down peroxide. I guess those are healthy peroxisomes, right? So this I found out was one of the secret First of all, I had never heard of this organelle outside of our studies. I had never seen it or heard of it. So it's a bunch of health teachers on the internet. Nobody ever mentioned the peroxisome. In the 1 zillion hours of YouTube health programming I've watched and the thousands of books I read, I had never really heard anything on peroxisomes. When I was going deeper into the whole melanin concentration hormone and diet, when I was looking into the oxidative stress side, right? And then connecting some of the dots with, looking at what Seyfried and Wahlberg was doing and all that kind of stuff, I stumbled onto the peroxisomes. And I found out that, well, let me see what the Google demon say. But I found that they behave differently in people with metabolic disease. Yeah. Defects in these processes lead to severe conditions. Yeah. Peroxisomes are crucial for metabolic diseases because they perform vital functions like breaking down fatty acids and detoxifying harmful byproducts. And defects in these processes lead to severe conditions. Genetic disorders affecting peroxisomes can cause toxic substances like very long chain fatty acids to accumulate, disrupting organs, the brain. There we go. Right? So it can get crazy. Right? It can get crazy with these things here. So it was interesting that I'd never heard of them. I had never heard of them, and they're so impactful. Connection to other conditions, neurodegenerative diseases, right? So you see the whole crew right here, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, right? And then look, obesity, diabetes, cancer. You see the whole crew right here. This is the whole crew. That's the whole crew right there. Yeah, that's the whole clique right there. That's the whole diabetes crew. Obesity, cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. That's the whole clique right there. Right. So it was kind of like, I'm not going to say a secret, obviously, but it was interesting that there wasn't more information on the peroxisome. So catalase, and let's look up this other one for the family one time. Right? Let's get peroxidase front and center. A large family of enzymes that catalyze oxidation reactions, primarily breaking down peroxides, right? So, since H2O2 sits in the middle of your basic water and obviously your heavier gel-like water, your body is making it all the time. So your body has an army of enzymes whose job it is to recycle that back into pure water, right? So now this is another source of pure water, right? Or really recycling. I'll say recycling. It's not necessarily a source like mitochondria, because mitochondria is converting fats and carbohydrates into water. But catalase and the peroxidase family take peroxide and recycle that back into water, because usually the peroxide started as water. Right? Oh, and the YouTube gods, listen, prayer is strong. The YouTube gods did not bother us yesterday. So I don't know what that was, right, with TEDx. Obviously, TEDx did not like what we was doing. TEDx must have knew we wasn't on Team Evolution. And it's like, we will not allow them. We will not allow them to use our video as a teaching tool. We will not allow that. Right? All right. So, iron, though, when you're dealing with enzymes, and That's something that we dealt with in the old legendary classic. The old legendary classic, Eat Right for Your Haplotype book. Man, I'm trying to find a copy. I wish I could find my actual copy because my copy has a lot of notes with the pages falling off it and all of that. But we had a section. Man, what happened to my books though? Oh, here it goes. We had a section when we did the living biochemistry class just to create the conversation, right? Because that's the most important thing is creating the conversation. So we had a section in the book. I don't know if anybody has this, right? But we had a section in the book where we did enzyme health, right? Where we did enzyme health. And we were kind of going over, we spent a good, I want to say maybe, it might have been more than a month. Yeah, it might have been more than a month on enzyme health. And the main thing we were talking about was the relationship of enzymes to mineral elements. So we would do a lot of different research projects to figure out. Then we have a list where you need to fill in the list and complete the list. And so on one side you have the enzyme, then you have the element that it uses, and then you have the job it does, right? So you have like aldehyde mutase, and then there's a blank. So you got to figure out what's the mineral element that goes with in aldehyde mutase, and then it has what it does. It reduces and oxidizes aldehydes at the same time. Then you have amino polypeptidase. It's a missing mineral also. It cleaves amino acids from the N-terminus of proteins and peptides. Then you have arginase. Arginase is not missing a mineral because arginase works with manganese, but then you have to fill in the blank in terms of what it does. So each line either has the missing mineral or the job that it does. So people had to kind of fill in their books and figure out, just to get the idea, just to get the ball rolling, like one of the most important, because not only did I write this book to fight the misconceptions of something D'Amato was his name, the guy who wrote the book, Eat Right for Your Blood Type. Not only did I have to deal with that, but I also had to deal with, Dr. Sebi's, some of his crazy things as well. The biggest one is that protein didn't exist, right? And not only did him telling everybody that protein didn't exist, it just, set us back in terms of understanding the body, because he put a big emphasis on two things: minerals and pH. And the crazy part is that minerals and pH don't have a purpose in the human body without amino acids. Like that's almost an irreducibly complex unit together. In fact, as I'm sitting here thinking, protein, mineral elements, and pH are irreducibly complex. Period. You have to have all three in order to get the function. Meaning, if you have any sort of amino acid, hormone, enzyme, whatever, any sort of amino acid thing, if the pH is wrong, the amino acids just denature, they just unfold into nothingness. So you have to have the right pH for whatever is going to be working in that environment, in that space. And then the other thing is you have to have the mineral elements that make it go, like the batteries. They're like batteries. You know what I'm saying? So you have to have the right batteries, you know, to make the little machine go. So yeah, in a very real sense, they're almost inseparable. So you can't really have a doctrine on health built around minerals and pH, and then at the same time say that protein doesn't exist. Because if protein doesn't exist, we don't have enzymes. We don't have pigments. We don't have hormones. We don't have neurotransmitters. We don't have, you know what I mean? All of those things. So anyway, that's what we were doing in that section of the class, just trying to get people familiar with that concept. Like, this is why you're doing this, right? So if you're doing, if you're trying to load up on minerals for whatever reason, mineral elements rather, you want to make sure that at the same time you're doing that, you're loading up on, you're making sure you're getting enough amino acids in, right? You're making sure you're getting enough amino acids in. And then obviously you want to have enough water, right? Not necessarily focus as much on the type of water, just get a lot of it in, right? Because at the time, water pimping was crazy. Water pimping was crazy. I've always been like mostly on the outside of all of the different crazes. So, I've never really had, I've never really been in the trend. I've never really been in the trend. When the Cajun machines came out, I was telling everybody, proceed with caution. You know what I'm saying? I was definitely getting me some alkaline water. But I understood, that you can't buy a whole bunch of gallons at once because the alkalinity dissipates. It's not a real alkalinity. It's synthetic, produced from the machine. Number two, which is probably more important than number one, I realized very early on that it's tap water. Our fear of tap water has created a wide variety of millionaires and billionaires off of our ignorance. Like the emperor's new clothes. Somebody can tell us anything and we will buy it because we are scared to drink tap. And then the crazy thing is, people that are scared to drink tap believe in vaccines. I'm like, well, you do know, if you get you some good old fashioned tap in every so often, that's going to vaccinate you a little bit. I'm just saying. Back in the days, we never got sick and we drank pipe water in New York. Pipe water. We drank out the pipe. That's what we used to call it. Pipe water. We drank right out this, put our mouth right to the faucet. Shh. Summertime, we had the hydrant. We didn't even think about the fact that dogs pee on the hydrant. We right in the hydrant, drinking it, running around in it, having a time of our life. Not even thinking about, fast forward, the 80s turned to the 90s, 90s turned to 2000s. And all of a sudden, a new concept pops up in terms of your immunity, microbiome. All of a sudden, where you had people called pseudo and quacks and all kind of different names, because they were saying that the germ theory was incorrect. That, bacteria aren't necessarily the disease forming agents of the world. We're not in a battle against the bacteria. We came from the single cell organisms. Those are technically those would be our common ancestors, right? And so, they were considered, quacks and pseudo scientists for, maybe 3 or 4 decades. And then microbiome talk rolls around. And all of a sudden, those are geniuses. Those are the early pioneers ushering in the new dawn of immune technology. Because the people that we called crazy for 40 or 50 years, they knew that there were bacteria that were indispensable to our body's health. And so all of a sudden now, it became big business. People were selling, microbiome, what I'm saying? And people were buying it even before they knew what it was. And that went, and even when the microbiome craze got started, I was telling people, hey, listen, yeah, the good bacteria, blah, 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 but everybody has bacteria already. Everybody is coated and loaded with germs, right? The thing is, if your inner condition, if your body's environment is not hospitable to certain strains of bacteria, eating them from a jar is not going to do anything. It's just like when you see the old movies and they show like the cannibal Mexican Aztecs, and they got the virgin and they walk the virgin up and they throw her into the volcano, or they take the strangers from the, whoever explorers or whatever, tie them up and they throw them in the volcano. That's what we was doing with microbiome. We was buying them little jars for $40, $60. If your body is inhospitable to particular strains, your body is the volcano. And those strains that you just bought, $60, $80, because they was charging crazy prices when it first came out. They was in the refrigerated section, so it looked like it was real, like super medicinal. You get it out, what I'm saying? And you just taking them and just sacrificing them to the volcano because you're not changing the condition of the body. And then I was in that group of people, right? And then people started to say we were crazy, right? The people who were saying that you're wasting money with the microbiome stuff. They were saying that we was crazy. And the whole idea was, yes, you need the good bacteria, but more than that, the thing that you need is water and fiber. Because without fiber, the bacteria don't work and they don't take hold in your body. You're just killing them. You need to put the fiber in there and the water to turn the volcano into like a nice, like a Hawaii kind of thing, if you follow me. I don't know. I might seem like I'm all over the place, but we need to turn the volcano from active to inactive island getaway. You do that with fiber and water, right? And so for maybe a good 10 years, they were saying, you know, people was crazy, whatever the case may be. And then they came out with a fiber in a bottle to go along with the probiotic. So now you can buy the probiotic, and then they tell you, oh, in order to get the probiotic to really work, you got to buy some prebiotics to go with the probiotics. I was cracking up because people start explaining it to me, and I'm just sitting there like, no, that's what I told you. Now you go back wherever you bought that at and go ask them people, what is prebiotics? And they come back, Inky, do you know that prebiotics is fiber? I'll be like, I told you to go get you a $5 bag of apples. Now, how much you paid for that there? I told you to go get you a $5 bag of apples, and you came back with a $65. You came back with a $65 bottle of designer apples. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that whole long story, just to give you some backdrop and just so you know how things change in the scientific community. Very slow. And it's a lot of laugh now, cry later kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Laugh now, cry later. I rhyme greater than the average player, hater, and spectator. They buy my CD twice. Then brothers on the street be like, yo, he nice. But that's on the low though. Need them cats with no dough tried to play me at my show. I don't know. I don't know where the Biggie came from. That's a Biggie. Yeah, just I got hip hop Tourette syndrome. Anyway. Yeah, I got hip hop Tourette syndrome. That's a Bronx disease. What am I doing? All right. So I think we got a good idea. Anyway, pH needs to be right. Amino acid intake needs to be right. And your mineral element needs to be right to complement the job of the fully formed, amino acids, whether it's hormones or enzymes, right? Now, most of your enzymes and hormones and things like that depend on the non-essential amino acids. So this comes back to carbohydrate metabolism, because carbohydrate metabolism creates the non-essential amino acids. The non-essential amino acids create these enzymes. So if we have a problem metabolizing carbohydrates, we have a problem building these enzymes because we have a problem producing enough non-essential amino acids, which is where we come back full circle to our anabolic system. Our anabolic system is not only responsible for building muscle, but it's responsible for turning fats and sugar into electricity, water, and non-essential amino acids. Right? Because most of that's going to happen inside of the active muscle. And that is probably 90% of the trick. Active muscle. Right? So if you have not done a prayer today or moved around, you need to move around. Right? If you have not said a prayer or moved around, you need to move around. Appreciate the heads up, Henry. We in class. We in class. I will definitely tap in once we finish up week 11, day 2. Right? And then try to get in a little bit of that Kim hop. You know what I'm saying? We got to try to get in a little bit of that Kim hop. All right. Moving right along from exercise, we need to go back to the Google Demons so we can discuss, I think his name is Neil Bohr. And I'm hoping that we can get a simplified The Bohr effect describes how hemoglobin's oxygen affinity is decreased by high levels of carbon dioxide and hydrogen ions, which lowers blood pH. This causes hemoglobin to release more oxygen to tissue than that needed, while high oxygen levels in the lungs allow hemoglobin to bind oxygen tightly. In essence, the Bohr effect optimizes oxygen delivery to metabolically active tissues and pickup in the lungs. Hemoglobin's oxygen affinity is decreased by high levels of carbon dioxide and hydrogen ions. Right? So that would be considered acid. Right? That would be considered our acid. Right? Hey, y'all see how the ladies jumped on Henry though? That was crazy. Yo, y'all see how Tika and Lauren jumped on Henry? That was wild. Like, how dare you try to get Inky to leave out of class, boy? You know what's your license plate number? You better watch your step walking home, Henry. Them ladies on you. All right, so the positive hydrogen ions are protons. Remember, we had that conversation. Depending on which textbook you're looking at, depending on whether it's more of a chemistry, biochemistry, like depending on what science, sometimes it's just a proton, right? Like in the quantum space. And sometimes it'll be positive hydrogen ion. But just know a positive hydrogen ion is it's a proton, right? So protons, right? And what else he said? Oh, and CO2, right? This is your acid, and this is the primary driver of your pH. Your pH, like more important than food, right? The gases in your body are more important than food in terms of your blood pH, right? That is important. Important to know, because a lot of us we still have that in our mind that food is the primary driver of pH. It is not. It is gas. The thing is, food metabolism is the primary driver of gas. Right? So it's not entirely incorrect. It's just if you leave out the middle part, then at some point or another, you'll be missing a lot. You'll be missing a lot of information, right? But the CO2 comes from the metabolism of the food, right? So now we're on the back end, right? Remember, throughout the first few weeks, we spent a lot of time on beta oxidation and the Krebs cycle. This is now on the back end. Now we're on the other side, right? We already ate the sandwich. We already had the salad or whatever we had, right? And we already broke it down. We already did our push-ups or whatever we're doing, right? And now we're getting rid of the CO2, right? Now we're getting rid of the CO2. The CO2 drives down the pH in the blood. So this is another thing that's important, right? Paramagnetism goes up as pH goes down, right? So there's an inverse relationship to magnetism and pH, right? Why? Because we have these guys floating around, right? So as the pH in the blood drops down, paramagnetism goes up, right? So you can think about that almost in a sense of how a proton is attracted to an electron, right? And so the more protons you get, it's almost like the more protons, the more attractive the blood is now getting. The paramagnetism is going up. The more attractive the blood is now getting, almost like vampire-like, looking for more charge, right? So it's going to cycle back around to the heart to get back to the lungs to get charged that much faster, right? But we have to keep a balance in order for that process to function right, right? So that's one of the things that makes the heart complex. It is a moving magnetic flux, your blood, your circulatory system, right? That your heart has to regulate, and the bones play a key role in, right? Your bones are going to play a key role, obviously, because the bones are producing the blood, right? But then also your bones are responsible for buffers, like chemical buffers, right? Producing that baking soda. Baking soda, I got baking soda, right? Your bone helps to produce that baking soda, right? So anyway, the Bohr effect how do we get our gut health more acclimated to a raw vegan diet? Well, first of all, you don't necessarily need to go on a raw vegan diet, right? So that's not a thing, right? But if you want to do a raw vegan diet, like any other diet, the trick is you just have to do it. Like Nike, just do it. Because it's going to take a while for so be back to microbiome. When we say amongst each other, like get used to a diet, what we're really talking about is the populations of our microbiomes to change over, right? And so every type of diet, like each person's microbiome is individual like a fingerprint. And now we got a zillion different types of species of bacteria, but our genetics and what we eat and how we live determine which of those populations we strengthen, right? Almost like how international banks finance wars, right? So when countries go to war, they need to get money from the international banks so they can buy weapons and whatever else. And whoever is better funded usually comes out on top of the war because they have more supplies, soldiers, technology, equipment, guns, whatever. Same thing goes on in your body. Your lifestyle is the resources for the different populations of bacteria. And so if out of nowhere you decide to go on a paleo diet, it's going to take a while for your body, typically anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, for your body to adjust to that, right? So you have microbiome stuff that's got to adjust, and then you have some chemistry stuff that has to adjust. Raw alkaline, vegan, pescatarian, you name it, right? Keto, whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? But you just got to go through it. You know what I'm saying? If somebody, like, for instance, with beans, you know, people always ask me because I promote beans a lot. They say, well, you know, I eat beans and then it makes me fart. Well, just keep eating the beans. You'll be fine. People around you might not be fine for a few weeks, but, you know, stick with it. You know what I'm saying? Stick with it. A couple of weeks, you'll just notice the gas is gone. You know what I'm saying? Because your body's microbiome has adjusted so that now you have a high population of those bacteria lying in your system. And so you don't, when you eat your whatever, your beans, lentils, whatever, you don't get gassy, right? But if you don't have them and you don't really metabolize them well, you get gassy, you get bloating, you get whatever, you know what I'm saying? So you always have to have that adjustment. That's one of the reasons why it's important to see our digestive system as living. As living. Information is key, right? Okay, let's go. Let's go with the super chats. Thank you, Peyton. And let's go with my man, Henry. Listen, Henry came with the super chat after getting, like, the ladies was on they man, who comes with the knife? We was watching Freddy Krueger last night. He got the you know, Michael Myers. Yeah, the ladies was Michael Myers. So we appreciate you for being of service, even after you got a little bloodied and beat up there, sir. Man. Yeah, ladies, how y'all can't be stabbing up folks with the super chat now. Okay, I can't be stabbing up the super chat family now. Henry got thick skin. Yeah. Okay, that's a fact. Appreciate y'all. But no, the ladies is I got the female security team. You know what I'm saying? The ladies is the most vicious, like Wakanda. You know what I'm saying? But and then it plays a role in this too, Henry, because if you don't get good digestion, then you'll get some metabolites and some leftovers, and that kind of shifts and takes everything in this direction, right? So our metabolism will become slowly but surely uncoupled from our respiratory system. And as the metabolism becomes uncoupled from the respiratory system, we start to have CO2 and oxygen issues, which also is never a discussion. The only people that discuss CO2 and oxygen stuff is like athletes, and they discuss it in the space of VO2 max, right? And so we spent a good amount of time discussing VO2 max, and this is invisible, but this is a part of VO2 max. As your VO2 max improves, these things improve because these things contribute to your VO2 max. So your muscles' ability to break down carbohydrates and fat, to produce more electricity, to recycle, lactic acid and all of those different things becomes more efficient, which makes this process more efficient, and it taxes, it's a lot less taxing on the body, on the bones. Parathyroid glands have to do less work, pulling, minerals out of the bone, and you don't need as much vitamin K because you don't have as much calcium floating around in the blood and blah, 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 blah. It's a whole downstream effect of stuff. Yep, you can get you some, if you're into that, right? If you're into that, right? So there's fermented foods in the whole fermented food universe. I'm not a big fermented food guy. I'm not a fan. But I do believe in yogurt. I know that goes against the vegan gods. But I've long left the vegan gods a long time ago. Once the vegan gods made their final ruling that honey was not, I was like, okay, well, then that's that. I guess I'm not vegan. Nice to know you guys, because I'm not giving up my jackets or my shoes either. But I do believe that they got vegan yogurts, and that's my preference, the coconut, you know what I'm saying? But fermented foods are good from time to time. I don't necessarily believe that, we need to flood ourselves with fermented foods every day because we see it on the internet, right? That's going over the deep end. But I think that fermented foods are therapeutic. So although I'm not a fan, you will not get me going against the fermented food family out there. Yeah, get them together, Paul. Get them together. Paul Henry said, what about the vinegar? The same fiber that your microbiome needs, a part of the reason why the microbiome needs the fiber is because it's going to make short chain fatty acids out of the fiber, which your body, basically the microbiome is going to make vinegar out of the fiber for you. And that's also your GLP-1 and all of that kind of stuff. Henry, we got to get you more up to date. We got to get you. You done missed a lot of classes and a lot of books. We got to get Henry some books. We got to get Henry some classes. We got to get Henry together. So that way the girls won't be jumping on you, Henry. All right. But I know what's going on over there, Henry. They I done hit pop. You gotta knock your man Unc out over there. He looking crazy. So now, all of a sudden, Jabari done hopped off a milk carton. Like, hold up. Yeah, Inky, I gotta see you now. It's all right. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. All right. So anyway, back to exercise. So when you're exercising, the muscles produce CO2, right? Because the muscles are breaking down fats, carbohydrates. They're producing CO2. Temperature goes up, right? The body gets a little warmer. And because you're producing more CO2, blood gets more magnetic, pH drops, right? Now, why is that a part of a beautiful symphony, right? Because as the pH drops, the hemoglobin release the oxygen faster. Why does it release oxygen faster? Right? Because if you just read this in a vacuum, you would think that this is killing you, but it's not. Right? The reason why it's releasing the oxygen faster is clearly because you need it. When you're using the muscle, you're breaking down the fats and the sugars. The more sugars and fats you break down, the more oxygen you got to get in there to produce water and to form the CO2. Each carbon requires 2 oxygens, right? So the more the pH drops, the faster your blood drops off the oxygen. The faster the blood drops off the oxygen, right? Now, in this space, this is where iron becomes important. And this is where the kidneys come into play, right? This is where the kidneys come into play for exercise, right? The kidneys come into play because the kidneys have a lot of other jobs. The kidneys are not just filtering stuff, right? One of the jobs that the kidneys got is like hall monitor in a way. Like, so the kidneys got to watch the blood. And when the blood goes down, the kidneys is what tells the bone marrow to make more blood faster or slower. And it's doing that based on pH, right? So the kidneys is monitoring the pH, which is the oxygen, the carbon dioxide, all that. And as the need for iron goes up, right? As the need for oxygen goes up, the need for iron goes up, right? So the kidney is going to tell the bone marrow, make more blood cells. More blood cells, we can carry more oxygen to the muscles. We carry more oxygen to the muscles, we can clean the lactic acid, CO2, we can keep the endurance going. Right? So when you're exercising, this is how you're building the internal organs up. So like in the martial arts, they talk about Wei Dan and Ni Dan, right? The outer musculature and the inner musculature. So when you're exercising, your aorta has to work harder, right? Your aorta has to work harder because it's moving all the blood, but it's also producing the nitric oxide, right? So not only is it producing nitric oxide, so that's nitrogen and oxygen, right? So you need oxygen for nitric oxide as well, right? But it's also carrying the messages, right? And then you have the kidney working harder, right? The kidney's working harder. Now the bone marrow is working harder. So everything works in conjunction on the inside to facilitate what we see on the outside. We just got to keep that in mind as we're doing, you know, a set of squats or some push-ups or whatever. That is a whole chain. You know, we got like a whole slave labor going on inside our body, right? And so we want to make sure that from time to time we show a little bit of love. Yeah, see, I'm about to show a little blue magic love to my insides right now. Yeah. Yeah. You gotta put them ingredients in, right? So EPO, can y'all see that? EPO, that's the steroid that they accuse LeBron of. Chael Sonnen, the UFC dude. He accused LeBron of using EPO. The guy that won all of the awards riding the bikes in France, he was found to use, you know, guilty of, or he admitted to using EPO, whatever the case may be, because it's the master endurance steroid. The more blood you can produce, the more oxygen your body can carry, the more your VO2 max goes up. The more your VO2 max goes up, the more your muscles can do, the more burden they can bear, etc. All right. Yes, this is a fact. Let's go with the chairman of the building fund. Hold up, man. We got to get some curtains in here. Listen, we need some curtains. We need some chairs. Let's show some love to Brian Wallace for the building fund, man. Yeah, man, it's a drip. We got a drip. You know, I'm coming through the ceiling dripping. We got to get the building fund together. We got to get the building fund together. Yeah. All right. So I think we cooking a little bit. We all over the place, but I believe we cooking, right? All of this has to do with our iron moving electricity and redox, right? All right. So myoglobin. Myoglobin during exercise responds stronger and faster than hemoglobin, right? Because myoglobin has to bring that oxygen into the muscle, right? So it is literally like blood, but inside your muscle. So it's going to grab the oxygen so that your oxygen, so your mitochondria can do what it does, right? And then we have discussed at length, so I don't feel like we need to really go into that again right now. We can kind of peruse on by, right? Inside the mitochondria, right? Because the hemoglobin is bringing the oxygen in. The myoglobin is grabbing the oxygen from the blood and bringing it into the muscle. And then the myoglobin is going to pass that off to the mitochondria. And the mitochondria electron transport chain is also made out of iron. So hemoglobin, iron. Myoglobin, iron. Mitochondria, iron, right? And inside the mitochondria is iron and sulfur, right? So iron can do its electrical work, and the sulfur is there as like antioxidant support, right? Antioxidant support. And then we go from there. That's an interesting caveat. One of my favorite words. One of my favorite moments in teaching history. Mitochondrial biogenesis. I will forever be grateful to Black and Nobel, no matter how our relationship ended. For a bunch of different things, but one of them is for allowing me to have this moment, mitochondrial biogenesis moment. Imagine Black and Nobel can probably hold maybe 80 people packed. Like if you get to 100, it's standing room only. You know what I'm saying? So we somewhere in that pocket. And I got kids from the medical school in scrubs there. I got dope boys. I got strippers from around, you know what I'm saying? I got holistic, alkaline, vegan, conscious community people. Like I got a wild group in this room. You know what I'm saying? From the medical students to the kids, to people with guns and drugs, you know what I'm saying? Like, because they're not going home before they come to class. They're coming right from the corner up to class, and then after class, they're going back to the corner. You know what I'm saying? So I got a wild room that I'm talking to, and I got everybody's attention, right? I got everybody. we all on the same page. You know what I'm saying? Because if you talk about exercise is like a way where you can unify, like you could bring everybody into the fold, no matter what level of science they understand. Everybody kind of has the exercise in their mind as the bridge to health, right? Now, the more you know that exercise has a lot of biochemical whoozy doozy going on with it, but you can get everybody on the same page there, right? And whether people are trying to exercise for longevity or because they want a fatter booty for better tips or whatever they're thinking, or 6-pack, or they want to try to catch some girls or whatever they got going on. I got everybody on the same page. People putting their hands up, and little fake arguments like debates is breaking out, like it's popping. And then all of a sudden, I mentioned mitochondrial biogenesis. Even the med students. Yeah. Oh my God. It's funny. It's crazy. Even the med students was looking at me. And they were Temple University. They was from Temple. But they was all looking at me crazy, like, what? And I was explaining to them the impact that, certain exercises, especially like calisthenics, have on mitochondrial biogenesis, which is basically when your mitochondria divide. So they get smaller, but they get faster and they get more efficient. And the more exercise you do, particularly like endurance kind of exercise, the more your mitochondria number increase. The more your mitochondria number increase, the more your VO2 max increases, the more you're able to sustain more of an oxygen and CO2 exchange, the better your physical performance, right? But that's what mitochondrial biogenesis is when you stimulate the mitochondria to say, it's not enough of us to handle the job. We need more. And so they start to they go into like a little Harlem Shake kind of thing. And then they just split up. Yeah, they just divide like magic. It really looks like magic under a microscope. You'll see them just splitting into two. Yeah, crazy. But on the flip side, when you are lethargic, when you're lazy, when you go through long stretches without exercising, those little wormy looking, little slug looking things will crash into each other and turn back into larger, slower mitochondria. So two become one, and then two become one, and all of a sudden you went from 4,000 mitochondria in a cell to 2,000. And then, you stay lazy, and then that 2,000 becomes 1,000, right? And then it hits like a bottom number. And so does your VO2 max and oxygen efficiency go down with the number of your mitochondria, right? On the flip side, you can always start exercising and stimulate this. So your 1,000 can become 2,000, your 2,000 can become 4,000. And obviously they will max out based on how much room you have in your cells. So they can just infinitely, overload a cell, but they do divide. Fuse is called fusion and fission, right? Fusion is when they come together, get bigger and slower. Fission is when they divide and become smaller and more efficient, right? And then on top of that, once they divide and you have a whole bunch of them, the mitochondria itself will get stronger. Yeah. Like you keep exercising, you get ripped, mitochondria get ripped. Yeah. So those lines you see, those are called cristae. Let me pull up one. See what the Google demons got. Actually, we don't even need the Google demons as much as we need a picture. these folds, right? So when we look at mitochondria and we see these pictures, this is a good one right here. What just happened? That was crazy. Okay. When we see these pictures, we take it for granted that mitochondria all look the same. They don't. They don't have the same amount of these cristae. The cristae are the lines and the folds in them, right? And the more of these folds they have, the more iron is in there. The more electron transport chain complexes is in there. So the more of these lines they have, the more oxygen they can utilize, the more electricity they can produce, the more water they can produce. So the more cristae, the stronger the mitochondria are. Right? So that's important. Right? Your mitochondria can get ripped. Focus and consistency are the same thing or different? I would say different. I would say focus and consistency are different. I would say one leads to the other, but they're not the same, right? Because consistency is almost, you can almost describe consistency as your ability to stay focused over a long period of time, right? But you can be focused like a lot of people. A lot of people get focused, for a short period of time. And so they're doing whatever they're doing, whether it's their diet or their exercise or their study or their, whatever. And then over time, they lose the focus. And so they stop the, whatever that is. They stop doing that thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's important. Focus, no matter what it is, whether it's a job, a relationship. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens with relationships. When it's early in the relationship, you're focused on the other person because you're focused really on yourself, right? It's a selfish focus. You're focused on making the other person happy because you want the other person, right? Over time, it's You know what I'm saying? You ready to switch that old car in for a new model anyway. You know what I'm saying? You're like, I'm tired of this car. It don't start up. You know what I'm saying? It don't start up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's supposed to. You know what I'm saying? You ready to get, you done seen some young girls jogging by your house or something. Or you done went to the grocery store, ladies, and you keep seeing that same muscular dude, offering to help you with your groceries. You know what I'm saying? And your man at home getting more and more blubbery and cranky by the day. And you keep seeing that same old young, strapping gentleman. Yeah. So it gets harder to stay focused on things over time, especially when we get the whatever the goal is. Whatever the goal is, if we've got the goal or we have given up on getting the goal, the focus usually goes, right? So usually in order to sustain a super long focus, to be consistent over a super long period of time, your goal has to be, you can't have a transient goal. So that's the key with whatever it is you're doing, right? Whether it's a job, it's your health, it's a relationship, it's a business, the thing that drives you to do it has to be, you know what I'm saying? The thing that drives me to do this is my children and the fact that I'm scared I'll die if I stop doing it. These are facts. These are facts. Yeah. I'm in a blood contract with God. Like, no, you do that. I'll figure out the other stuff. Get another book going. But yeah, so you gotta figure out, like E.T. the hip hop preacher says, you gotta figure out your why. You know what I'm saying? Your why is strong enough, everything else will work itself out. Period. If the why is not strong enough, the focus, the consistency, and everything else will collapse. Guilty on losing focus a couple of times. Don't ever even say that. Don't even say guilty of losing focus. That's just being a human. Yeah, that's just being a human, because sometimes, sometimes we got a lot of things to do, and it becomes it becomes impossible. It becomes impossible to do everything or to give everything 100% of your attention, because you only have one attention. So you can't give everything 100% of your attention. You know what I'm saying? So you have to prioritize, and the people around you have to, that's where the people you surround yourself with become important. You know what I'm saying? Because they have to be able to push you into that thing you do, as opposed to try to pull you out of that thing you do. You know what I'm saying? So if you play basketball, you need to surround yourself with people that are really interested in basketball, right? So that your conversation is always there. So even when you lose focus on it and you sitting around, whoever is right there, they're going to be like, oh, did you see that game from such and such? Or, yo, I just saw this new drill you can practice. Like, they're going to keep bringing you back into that thing it is that you're doing, as opposed to playing basketball and you surround yourself with people that smoke weed and go to nightclubs all the time. Well, every time you lose focus, guess what? You're going to be smoking weed or going to a nightclub and smoking weed, because the people around you are your angels or your demons, right? But it's kind of like the old school vampire movies. You got to invite them in, and you invite them in with your lack of focus, right? So it depends on what they're into. Whatever they're into, they're going to pull you into when you lose focus. And you're going to lose focus because your brain gets tired of repetition. Your brain is designed for pattern recognition, and it gets tired of the same thing. So here's how you know that's a fact. If you ever been in school or you ever been at work and you getting tired, you keep checking your watch, you looking up at the wall, you checking your watch and your phone and looking up at the job time, like as if they're gonna say something different. You checking all three times, like you head getting heavy, you can't even keep your eyes open good, you getting droppy, and as soon as it's time to go, automatically you totally reinvigorated. You ain't sleep, you ain't eat nothing happened. You was just dead tired at school or at work. Now, as soon as you left, you totally reinvigorated. You don't need to sleep, you don't need to do nothing. You calling up, yo, what y'all getting ready to get into tonight? I don't know, I got to get into something though. Because that's your mind. Your mind is saying, I don't know what I'm getting ready to do, but I have to break the pattern. I got to do something totally different than what you know what I'm saying? So you got to create little systems. For me, I'd be into all kind of ratchet, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But that's how I know how my mind works. So that's what, works for me. So I'll be reading some extremely insane, biology, something or other. I'll be deep in the books for X amount of time. And then when I feel that fatigue coming on, bam, I'll switch and watch me a quick episode of, I don't know, Power or Reasonable Doubt or something. I don't know. I'll tap into something. Check on DJ Academics or something real quick. Whoop! And then my mind just totally reset. I done totally broke the pattern and went all the way left with it. And now after 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes of that, I'm tired of it. Yeah, this is, okay, yeah. Let me get back in these books. Right? So it's not, don't scold yourself. You know, just figure out your patterns. You know what I'm saying? And figure out some stuff to do that's not super damaging to whatever it is that you're trying to cultivate, that you can do to kind of like break your fast or break your focus, that'll cycle you back into your focus. Use the discomfort to encourage you to get back to the comfort. Let the discomfort power you back to the comfort. Like I tell people all the time, when you're on your diet or your fast and you fall off the wagon, don't wake up the next day, right? Because people get ready to do it. This is the season. It's crazy. It started yesterday. Halloween is the gateway to all hell breaking loose, right? The sugar has started, right? Sugars, alcohol, it started yesterday, right? So Thanksgiving, you know, it's going to get crazy. It's going to get crazy because, you know, your parents and all kind of old folks and elders that don't respect nothing you talking about, they going to be forcing you to eat something crazy. And they ain't going to really be forcing you, but they're going to force you just enough to break your will because you really want to eat that stuff. You know, you want to eat whatever it is anyway. So all you need is some external pressure to justify, well, all right, I'm going to just have a little. Right? So the problem is not when you eat that, because your body really, no matter what you eat, once or twice, that doesn't do anything to your body. It's what you eat consistently that determines your health or sickness, right? But the problem is people will wake up the next day and they so blown out of shape because they went 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months or whatever without eating milk or meat or turkey or whatever it is. And they done had some that now in their mind, they totally blowed out of shape. Oh man, I done went 3 months without smoking no cigarettes. And now I done had me some beer and some wine. And I done had 4, 5 cigarettes last night. I might as well just keep on going till Monday and start fresh. I'm gonna just start fresh on Monday. Right? It's Thursday when you acted a fool. You wake up on Friday stressed out about the situation. And instead of just shaking that off and pretending like that never happened, right? You back on your grind Friday. Whatever happened on Thursday, Cancun rules apply. I forgot all about that. Yeah, I forgot all about that. Whatever happened yesterday happened yesterday. Now you pushing it off. You like, well, I done went crazy and indulged last night, so I might as well just start fresh on Monday. So now you getting in enough cigarettes and whatever Friday, Saturday, Sunday that you done restarted your whole habit. Yeah, you done restarted your whole habit. So now Monday come around, you can't stop again. Now you back to that again. Now you Pookie in the crack house again. You know what I'm saying? So no, whenever you fall off the wagon, the next day you just get amnesia, selective amnesia, just the little Will Smith flashy thing. Yeah, you just forget about that. Go right on about your business. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing to see here. Like when there's a car accident on the other side of the highway, there's nothing to see here. Keep on. There's nothing to see here. Keep on going. That's it. Just keep going. Just wake up the next day. You good. The family got you. The family got you. Just charge it to the game like a debit card. Whoop. Thursday, I don't know what happened. The family got me. But Friday, you back on your business. Yeah, that's that. Yeah. I do. All you got to do is book a tutoring session on my website. Go to AmericanHealer.website. Right? Go to AmericanHealer.website. And we will get you together. All right. Signs that you don't have enough iron. Right? Signs that you don't have enough iron. Dizziness. What else? Dizziness, cold feet, cold hands. Right? You could have some numbness some places. Right? But don't assume. Don't assume you know. Right? Go to the doctor, let the doctor tell you, and then you can figure out what to do after that. Right? Because iron can be crazy. You can have iron deficiency where you just need to get you some herbs, some better food in, or maybe pop a pill from the whatever. Or you could have a crazier iron issue. You know what I'm saying? You can have some bone marrow stuff going on. It could be crazy. Yeah, fatigue. Yeah, getting tired too easy. Right? But also try taking a nap too, because remember mitochondrial biogenesis, because this has a lot to do with your fatigue, right? So when you just starting to get an exercise habit, you don't really have the mitochondria support yet. Your mitochondria is at the level of your non-activity. So when you start exercising, after a few little ones and twos, you ready to sit down, have you something to drink, and maybe take a nap time. Listen to your body. Go right along with it. Sit down, have you something to drink, and take a nap. Take a nap. You'll get the mitochondria biogenesis faster. Right? And as you pump it up, your fatigue will drop down and you'll get more endurance. Also, I think Henry asked earlier about being a vegan. I'll be telling people sometimes I don't forgot more health stuff than people will ever learn. One of the other things, Henry, that you need to know about, along with this, is creatine. Creatine will confuse you, right? So you might think that you have an iron issue or you have something else going on, and really it's switching from meat to veggies, right? When you switch from meat to veggies, it's going to take you a month or two of exercising to get your mitochondria up to compensate for the drop in creatine. Or you could go to the supplement place and just get you some powdered creatine and throw it in your blender, right? But just know, when you eat chicken, when you eat beef, when you eat fish, when you eat any kind of flesh, it has creatine in it. Meat has creatine in it. The redder the meat, the more creatine. So your body gets dependent on that extra source of creatine for recycling ATP and helping out your mitochondria to function. So when you stop eating meat or cut down, like maybe you eat everything, but you're like, all right, I'm gonna stop eating pork and red meat. Each time you cut down your meat intake, you're cutting down your body's creatine intake. And when you cut down the creatine intake, your body isn't able to recycle the ATP as fast and as strong, right? So you got to give yourself a chance, because a lot of people try to come off the meat and go vegetarian or go vegan. And after a couple of weeks, their energy is so low, they just go back to the meat. And they be like, well, my energy was so low. And, I tried it, but my energy was too low. I couldn't do anything. Whoop, whoop. And so, I just went back to the meat. And as soon as I had some meat, my energy came back and it was crazy. It was like night and day. I can't do that vegan thing. That's not healthy. I'm like, okay. See, you was on the internet getting information from herbal salesmen So you was learning from people who did. The misinformed was informing the uninformed. And so because you started your program based on misinformation, once you got into the heat of your program and it didn't go right because you was listening to somebody telling you about alkaline something or other and 100 minerals in sea moss and all kinds of goofy, you didn't have the right mindset going in, right? So you get the right mindset going in, you'll be able to navigate, do your thing, and get to your goals faster, safer, and easier. Right? Dun, 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 dun. All right. So with that said, there's some other stuff in that chapter. But remember, the class is not the book or book replacement. So in order to get all the information, you need to get the book. So this class that we're in right now is the Melanin is Anabolic class. Get this book so you can follow along or go at your own speed, right? Because right now, my man Peyton said, Dr. Inky, we done got too smart. We done got too smart already. So we need to do.
Melanin verses, sugar spun curses. No. Melanin verses, sugar spun curses. Sweet in the vein, but the pain reimburses. Ancient scrolls, Dr. Inky rehearses. No pills, no potions, just roots in the dirt shit. Get it out the mud, let the herbs heal the hurt quick. Bitters on the tongue, blood sings its own verses. The blood of our son of a star. Fermented fruit, sugar, diabetic guitar. Clean the stream where the cosmos spar. The blood of our son of a star. The bloodstream, a temple. Bitters cleanse the mental. Fruit sugar battles like a war continental. Black skin royal, crowned in the soil. Oil the roots, let the toxins recoil. Ancestors whisper through the sap and the spoil. No drug to fix it, just the earth's oil. The blood of a son of a star. Fermented fruit, sugar, diabetic guitar. Clean the stream where the cosmos far. The blood of a son of a star. Drums beat like the pulse in your wrist. Hi-hat stagger like a serpent in the mist. Triplets trip through the veins, don't resist. Ancient remedy, a healing twist. Blood cleanse the ancestors persist. The blood of a son of a star. Fermented fruit, sugar, diabetic guitar. Clean the stream where the cosmos far. The blood of a son of a star.
Yeah. 200 books in the stash, spines like a fortress. Bioelectric sparks, brain waves, gorgeous. Quantum collapse, time bending contortion. Green veggies in the mix, sunlight absorption. Witness this limitless penmanship militant. Dr. Inky script slick, flipping the syllabus. Herbs and bitters, sea moss in the chalice. Melanin magic, options sparking the palace. I wrote
More books than you ever read.
flipping pages while your knowledge fled.
I wrote more books than you ever read.
Words sharper than the swords you bled. Pages stacked, ink bled through the parchment. Metaphors charged, thunderstorm in my apartment. Spin cycles like laundry. Quantum mechanics, folding time and space while y'all still panic. Solar plexus charged in a light never tarnished. Ancestors whispering code, speaking varnish. Seymour soup, my immune troops marching. Every line a revolution, ink's cathartic.
I wrote more books than you ever read.
Flipping pages while your knowledge fled.
I wrote more books than you ever read.
Words sharper than the swords you bled.
I'm atheist. It's not that hard. Your arms just too short to box with God.
I teach better, I rather speak better, eat better, sleep better, counteract disease better. I earn you fleece cheddar. I'm in the quantum mechanics planets. You can't stand it, you frantic panic. I can even recite Sanskrit. My mother played jazz, I heard Coltrane in the stomach. I was born into it, I ain't stumbled upon it. I came from under, now the boy above it. From the same place where Malcolm and Martin and James Baldwin got their name from. A young Diabolus of Alexandria, dressed in all black like I'm flying a TIE fighter. The lightsaber sharper than an apple peel. A black thinker, black leader, young deacon, walking out a Foot Locker with the zebra sneakers. Somewhere eating Mediterranean pizza. I've been out the way, man, it's been a couple seasons. What a pleasant surprise, well, really isn't. Dressed in black and white like the dog on that Spurs McKenzie. Used to get the 12 pieces, now we order from Kennedy. Wrote this in at Applebee's. When the world ends, you'll find me in a treehouse. A year and a half ago, the boy got ousted. All my raps must be wrote with quills, my pen a fountain. Be in the same circles that Mason X and Kissing Styles is. My baby told me I deserve to be a stylist. The house I live in, I can live in. For the rest of my life I found it. Diabolus of Alexandria got me on a family plan. Family, we hold each other down like gravity. And I'm still black, and I'm still proud, and I'm still black. I teach better, I read and speak better, eat better, sleep better, counteract disease better. I earn you fleece cheddar. I'm in a quantum mechanics planet. You can't stand it, you frantic panic. I can even recite Sanskrit. My mother played jazz, I heard Coltrane in her stomach. I was born into it, I ain't stumbled upon it. I came. You fellas jealous, overzealous, what they tell us. Mad I'm a good father, mad I'm a good teacher. Stack knowledge high, skyscraper preacher. Do the orders, write the books, even a good reader. You illiterate, hate cause you lost the debate. Pen sharp, cut deeper than a checkmate. You can see me, TBE, the best that ever did it. MVD, can't reach my peak, can't touch my speed. I plant the seeds, you stuck in the weeds. You can see me, TBE, the best that ever did it. MVD, oh. Abyss 3A maneuvers, violins in the gutter. Soul loop spinning, got your heartbeat stutter. Triplets on the drum line, militant parade. Marching through the chaos, every word a grenade. You mad, I'm a builder, mad, I'm a leader, mad. I don't trip when you're trying to throw a heater. See, I bounce back, trampoline with the ether. I'm a whole novel, you're just a weak teaser. You can see me, TBE, the best that ever did it. MVD, can't reach my Morse code. Orchestra swelling, I'm in beast mode. The sample sped up, soul cries in the layers. I'm the architect, blueprinting all prayers. Horns, blare, militant, snare drum, insistent. You want the crown, I already kissed it. You can't see me. The best that ever did, can't reach my peak, can't touch my speed. I plant the seeds, you stuck the loose.
Jealous, overzealous what they tell us. Mad I'm a good father, mad I'm a good teacher. Stack knowledge high, skyscraper preacher. Do the orders, write the books, even a good reader. You illiterate, hate cause you lost the debate. Pin sharp, cut deeper than a checkmate. You can't see me, the best that ever did it. Can't reach my peak, can't touch my speed. I plant the seed, you stuck in the weeds. Violins in the gutter, so loose spinning, got your heartbeat stutter. Triplets on the drum line, militant parade, marching through the chaos, every word a grenade. You mad, I'm a builder, mad, I'm a leader, mad. I don't trip when you tryna throw a heater. See, I bounce back, trampoline with the ether. I'm a whole novel, you're just a weak teaser. The best that ever did it. Can't reach my peak, can't touch my speed. I plant the seed, you stuck in the weeds. You can't see me, the best that ever did it. MVP. Yeah. Staggered hi-hats tap like Morse code. Orchestra swelling, I'm in beast mode. The sample sped up, soul cries in the layers. I'm the architect, blueprinting all prayers. Horns blare, militant, snare drum insistent. You want the crown, I already kissed it. You can't see me, the best that ever did it. Can't reach my peak, can't touch my speed. I plant the seeds, you're stuck in a weed. You can't see me.
We here now. Uncle Hotep Jesus, strong dad salute. Professor 10-9, Dr. Ink in the booth. Grifting the world, gifting the truth, watch us move. Hotep is stand, the kingdom of kings. Wisdom that echoes when the ancients sing. Hotep is stand, the kingdom of kings. Building empires with the gifts we bring. Biological, quantum, comedic precision. Dropping jewels like diamonds, this is surgical vision. Strong dads with the math, y'all can't handle division. Subtract the lies, add the truth, now we live in the mission. 10 out with the lens, zoom in on the plot. Dr. Inky in the lab, cooking science that's hot. We grift, we lift, build pyramids out of blocks. The podcast cast, better watch your clocks. Hotep is stand, the kingdom of kings. Wisdom that echoes when the ancients sing. Hotep is stand, the kingdom of kings. Building empires with the gifts we bring. Grifting the world, gifting the world. Knowledge unfolds, banners unfurl. We here now. Uncle Hotep, Hotep Jesus. Strong dad salute. Professor 10-9, Dr. Inky in the booth. Grifting the world, gifting the truth. Watch us move.
Hotep is stand, the kingdom of kings. Wisdom that echoes when the ancients sing. Hotep is stand, the kingdom of kings. Building empires with the gifts we bring.
Logical quantum comedic precision. Dropping jewels like diamonds, this is surgical vision. Strong dance with the math, y'all can't handle division. Subtract the lies, add the truth, now we live in the mission. 10 out with the lens, zoom in on the plot. Dr. Inky in the lab, cooking science that's hot. We grip, we lift, build pyramids out of blocks. Mind cash, better watch your clocks. Hotep stand, the kingdom of kings.
Kingdom of Kings.
Wisdom that echoes when the ancients sing. The kingdom of kings.
Kingdom of Kings.
Building empires with the gifts we bring.
Yes, we bring. Gift in the world.
Gifts in the world. Knowledge unfolds. Banners
I teach better, preach letters, deep setter, in the groove, speak better, sleek effort, wisdom moves how I move. I eat better, sleep better, counteract disease better, earn your fleece cheddar, stacking racks beneath leather. Oh, I'm into quantum mechanics, shifting planets, expanding. You can't stand it, you frantic, mine's crash landed, my words volcanic, magma flows in my stanza, bars so heavy, they tip scales like karma's hammer.
It's not that hard. Your arm's just too short to box with God. Too short to box with God. Your arm's too short, they too short to box with God.
Militant drums, I march with purpose. Soul sample flips like life's a circus. On the straight loops, I'm tracing my sermons. I'm the blueprint while you're still learning. Triplets on our hat, staggered in the sequence. My cadence militant, lyrics sharper than grievance. These bars an exorcism, demons flee in the distance. While your pen stays timid, I write with persistence.
Atheist, it's not that hard. Your arm's just too short to box with God. Too short to box with God. Your arms too short, they too short to box with God.
I teach better, preach letters, deep setter, in the groove, speak better, sleek effort, wisdom moves how I move. I eat better, sleep better, counteract disease better, earn your fleece cheddar, stacking racks beneath leather. Oh, I'm into quantum mechanics, shifting planets, expanding. You can't stand it, you frantic, mine's crash landed, my words volcanic, magma flows in my stanza, bars so heavy, they tip scales like karma's hammer.
It's not that hard. Your arm's just too short to box with God. Too short to box with God. Your arms too short, they too short to box with God.
Militant drums, I march with purpose. Soul sample flips like life's a circus. On the straight loops, I'm tracing my sermons. I'm the blueprint while you're still learning. Triplets on our hat, staggered in the sequence. My cadence militant, lyrics sharper than grievance. These bars an exorcism, demons flee in the distance. While your pen stays timid, I write with persistence.
Atheist, it's not that hard. Your arm's just too short to box with God. Too short to box with God. Your arms too short, they too short to box with God.
Get it out the mud. 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 From the dirt to the roots, what it is, what it was. Get it out the mud. Get it out the mud.
Yeah. Fulvic acids in the veins of the earth's grip. Microbiome whispers make the dirt rich. Carboxylic acid chains twist. A tight stitch, God made man from the soil. That's a deep mix. Phosphates dance in the dark. Unseen twist. Life crawled from the mud. Death couldn't resist. Yeah.
Get it out the mud. Get it out the mud. soil is the soul is the soil. Life's blueprint etched in the toil. Water kissed dead stars, made mud royal. The universe weeps, its tears make oil. God got life out the mud, that's loyal. Roots in the ground and the top stays mortal. Yeah, yeah.
Mud's a sermon on a hymn in the grit. Dead stars reborn in the mix they sit.
Yeah.
Life don't bloom without that pit. What's buried below builds pyramid.
Get it out the mud. 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 From the dirt to the roots, what it is, what it was. Get it out the mud. Get it out the mud.
Oh, soul loop spinning, drums militant marching, eyes wide open, God's light sparking.
Melanin magic, turning light to vision. Options dance, it's a God-given mission. Biology whispers in quantum codes. DNA scrolls where the universe explodes. Vitamin D fights blood pressure schemes. Sunlight sermons and ultraviolet beams.
God's voice echoes in the nucleus core. Life's blueprint written, can't ignore. Lifeless thing,
Let me tell you,
Christ is King. Christ is King. Christ is King.
Christ is King. Quantum entanglement, atoms in prayer. Distance irrelevant, God's always there. Flesh and spirit do a layer design. Infinity folded in the fabric of time. Blood runs rivers, His sacrifice flows. Through our veins His divinity grows.
God's voice echoes in the nucleus core. Life's blueprint written, can't ignore.
Melanin verses, sugar spun curses. Sweet in the veins, but the pain reimburses. Inches scroll, Dr. Inky rehearses. No pills, no potions, just roots in the dirt shifts. Get it out the mud, let the herbs heal the hurt. Quick bitters on the tongue, blood sings its own verses. The blood of a soul, son of a star. Fermented fruit, sugar, diabetic guitar. Clean the stream where the cosmos spark. The blood of us all, son of a star. The bloodstream a temple, bitters cleanse the mental. Fruit sugar battles like a war continental. Black skin royal, crowned in the soil. Boy, the roots let the toxins recoil. Ancestors whisper through the sap and the spoil. No drug to fix it, just the earth's own oil. The blood of a star, son of a star. Fermented fruit, sugar, diabetic guitar. Clean the stream where the cosmos spark. The blood of us all, son of a star. Drums beat like the pulse in your wrist. Hi-hat stagger like a serpent in the mist. Triplets trip through the veins, don't resist. Ancient remedy, a healing twist. Blood claim, the ancestors persist. The blood of us all, son of a star. Fermented fruit, sugar, diabetic guitar. Clean the stream where the cosmos spark. The blood of us all, son of a star. Jars is moving, the grind ain't stalling. Health improving, my spirit's calling. The sights is clicking, the orders flowing. Bears is growing, the seeds I'm sowing. Not about money, the legend's growing. Heaven is glowing, the truth is showing. Writing, killing omens, sharp like talons. Pen bleeds balance, the gifts a challenge.
That's Christmas crazy. See my baby.
Dr. Inky.
Blue magic. No saving. That's Christmas crazy. See my baby.
Dr. Inky.
Blue magic. No saving.
Militant focus, my drums got cadence. 100 street loops, a soul's vibration. Triplets dancing, hi-hat staggered. Life's a canvas, I'm Jackson splattered. Body in motion, my cells stay golden. Mind in sync, my thoughts unfolding. Consistency shining, path ain't frozen. Each new step, my fate is chosen.
See my baby.
Dr. Inky.
Blue magic. No saving. Chandra's Christmas crazy. See my baby.
Dr. Inky.
Blue magic. No saving. Mr. Lungs and Dr. Keeper spin a block like the heart's cosmic clock. Mr. Lungs and Dr. Keeper spin a block like the heart's cosmic clock. Mr. Lungs and Dr. Keeper spin a block like the heart's cosmic clock.
Teach respiratory health, herbs, bitters, embers, wisdom. Healing the people with nature. Oops, I mean nurture.
Mr. Lungs and Dr. Keeper spin a block like the heart's cosmic clock. Mr. Lungs and Dr. Mr. Lungs and Dr. Caper spin the block like the heart's cosmic clock. Tick tock, never stop, killing breath, nature's tether. We unlock with the herbs, bitters, wisdom that we stop. Mr. Lungs and Dr. Caper spin the block like the heart's cosmic clock. Tick tock, never stop, yeah. Tick tock, never stop. Yeah. Inhale, exhale, lungs expand like a parachute. Airtight, truth ignites, root deep as marabou. Herbs deep in the pot, bitter taste, sweet resolve. Epis papyrus scrolls, ancient ways to evolve. Breath control, soul's metronome, set the tone. Life cycle, spiral back to the throne. Yeah. Nature whispers in the leaves, ancestors sing through the trees. Cleansing air, disease, disease. Mr. Lungs and Dr. Kepler spin the block like the heart's cosmic clock. Tick tock, never stop, healing breath, nature's tether. We unlock with the herbs, bitters, wisdom that we stop. Mr. Lungs and Dr. Kepler spin the block like the heart's cosmic clock. Tick tock, never stop. Tick tock, never stop. The grind ain't stalling, health improving, my spirit's calling. The sights is clicking, the orders flowing. Bears is growing, the seeds I'm sowing. Not about money, the legend's growing. Heaven is glowing, the truth is showing. Writing, killing omens, sharp like talons. Pen bleeds balance, the gifts a challenge. Chandra's Christmas crazy, Simo's baby. Dr. Inky, blue magic, no saving. focus, my drums got cadences. This 3 loops, a soul's vibration. Triplets dancing, hi-hat staggered. Life's a canvas, I'm Jackson splattered. Body in motion, my cells stay golden. Mind in sync, my thoughts unfolding. Consistency shining, path ain't frozen. Each new step, my fate is chosen. Shine, this crazy, see more baby. Dr. Anything good, magic will save me.
Edelman's flying like paper planes. You lost the debate, but you still want the flames. Get your weight up, rim more, fix the aim. Edelman's flying like paper planes. You lost the debate, but you still want the flames. Get your weight. Edelman's flying like paper planes. You lost the debate, but you still want the flames. Get your weight up, rim more, fix the aim. Knowledge is the weapon, stop playing the same. Biology gangster, anatomy king. Textbooks and truth, I'm wearing these rings. Learn science like it's gold on my chain. Big brain hustle, no love for the game. I hear the whispers, the voice in the rain. Phantom of the opera, I'm not who you blame. Voice of the wind, phantom of the opera. The freak accident that made the gun pop, yeah. Loading up facts to explode in the air. You play with shadows, but I'm never there. This knowledge is soft, I said it's the grind. I'm stacking these books like I'm stacking the time. You talk like a king, but you fumble the crown. I'm rooted in facts while you're spinning around. Anatomy hustle, I dissect the truth. Breaking down lies like I'm breaking a booth. No cap on the scholar you fear. Ghost in the fog, you can't see me clear.
Edelman's flying, y'all ain't got facts. Talk big, crumble small, crumble like a snack pack. Read more, study up, your arguments whack. Biology, but gangster, I stay strapped with a fact stack. Anatomy hustle, heart pumping in the left. You flexing weak muscles, I'm dissecting your neglect. Can't debate the truth, so you ain't for my face. But I'm scratching my nuts, still winning the race. Why does me do to me make you feel out of place? I'm scratching my nuts, poking you in the face. I'm just living my life, staying in my lane. You mad I'm on, about to call it nuts, scratching fame. Lost the debate, now you grasp at the ether. Truth is harder than a broke boy speaker. Polyrhythms in my mind, I'm a walking cadence. Your silence loud, now quiet resignation. Facts hit you in the chest, no Kevlar vest. Science sharper than a blade, clean through the chest. Get your weight up, knowledge heavy, hard to lift. Meanwhile I'm flexing brains, never knew. Why does me do to me make you feel out of place? I'm scratching my nuts, poking you in the face. I'm just living my life, staying in my lane. You mad I'm unbothered, call it not scratching fame. Scratching fame.
confidence. Ad hominems flying. Y'all ain't got facts, talk big, crumble small, crumble like a snack pack. Read more, study up. Your arguments whack, biology but gangster. I stay strapped with a fact stack. Anatomy hustler, heart pumping intellect. You flexing weak muscles, I'm dissecting.
This is why you have to go to Amazon and get the book, Rich Abs, Poor Abs, now.